स्वास्थ्य ही संपद दर्शक बंधु एवं उपस्थित सबु अतिथि वृंद एक कथा को अनुभव करें एवं जदि आम निकट अतीतर कथा कहबा ताहले कोविड परवर्ती समय अंततपक्षे आम समस्ते ये कथा को रियलाइज करिछे हृदयंगम करिछे जे स्वास्थ्य प्रकृति में केते जरूरी एवं केवल निज स्वास्थ्य नुह निज समाज स्वास्थ्य एवं मेंटल हेल्थ को नहीं गोटे बड़ अवेयरनेस समस्त भितर ये कोविड आमको गोटे बड़ शिक्षा देछि। आम समस्त एक कथा को अनुभव करें जे केमती निजको सुस्थ रखा जरूरी एवं सुस्थ रखा पड़े विशेषकर मानसिक भाव में आम केमती फिट रही पारिबा से नहीं अनेक समय आम माने वर्तमान आलोचना भी करुछे। तेबे परिवर्तित परिस्थिति रे ए प्रसंगर यथार्थता को नहीं आजिर आमर ए आलोचना
एवं ये प्रसंग में आलोचना करने जो मैंने आम सहित उपस्थित अच्छा से होती पद्मश्री डॉक्टर तारा प्रसाद दास महोदय वाइस चेयरमैन एलवी प्रसाद आई इंस्टीट्यूट, डॉक्टर निम्रत सिंह क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट बिहेवियरल ट्रेनर एंड ऑथर, डॉक्टर राजेश चंद्र मिश्रा। मैं अनुरोध करी आम पैनलिस्ट मानक मंच को आसबे और सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट श्री संदीप मिश्र महोदय को अनुरोध ए मंच ए सेशन रे से मॉडरेशन करेंगे। May I request the dignitaries and the moderators, and before that we have a very special AV on this session to be played. Technical team, can we have the AV please?
समस्त को अनुरोध आसन ग्रहण करेंगे मंच पर। हाँ एभी पर एभी आमे प्रथमे प्ले करिबा टेक्निकल टीम को अनुरोध जे एभी प्ले करिवे।
Seems like we do not have the AVs for this session.
Okay.
तेणु आमे देरी न करी अनुरोध करिबा अतिथि माननकु एवं मंच परिचालकों को मंच को आसबे। Can we have the dignitaries and the moderator for the session on stage please? मानसिक स्वास्थ्य गोटे एभली चर्चा जहाँ को नहीं आज भी लोक लज्जा कहीं अच्छी केमिति समाज दूर हम ताकू नहीं किसी विशेष प्रश्न तार उत्तर। Can we have a round of applause for the panelists for the session and the moderator? Over to you, Mr. Mishra.
Namaskar, good afternoon. Hope all of you had a sumptuous lunch. Yeah. Good food, they say, results in a good mood. So we can start this post-lunch session with all positivity and alertness, as it will provide lots of food for thought. Yes, this session, the topic is related to the brain, and all of you out there, I would request all of you to brainstorm on ways to stay mentally healthy and physically fit. In India, at least 1 in 10 persons are estimated to suffer from some sort of mental health ailment. Some studies put the figure at as high as 30%. Hence, we decided to discuss about this most relevant topic today. Before proceeding further, I would introduce the guests. Already, my colleague has already introduced them. Dr. Rajesh Mishra is a well-known critical care specialist based in Ahmedabad. He is also president of Indian Society of Critical Care Medicine. He is to my left. To his left is Dr. Nimrat Singh, who is a noted clinical psychologist who is currently the associate professor at the MBA College of Nirma University in Ahmedabad, and she's also the founder of TimeGram, which is a human resource development center. And to the extreme left is Dr. Tara Prasad Das. He's been a recipient of Padma Shri recipient, and he's very known to all of us in Odisha, and is currently the vice chairman emeritus of LV Prasad Eye Institute in Hyderabad. So we can begin the session. I would start with Dr. Nimrat Singh. Mental health is not an oft discussed topic, but generally people tend to dub all mental illnesses as madness, which creates some kind of a social stigma. So I would start with Dr. Singh. Do you think with increased awareness and advancement in medical sciences, the stigma barriers are lessening?
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. A very good afternoon to all. We don't talk about mental health very easily in forums like that, so I really want to congratulate OTV to bring up a topic like mental health, because it is always it's brushed under the carpet. You agree? और जो इन्होंने अभी कहा ना statistics, 1 person out of 10 people in India, it comes to amounts to what? 1 person in a family at some point or the other has struggled with mental health. And 80% of the people who struggle with mental health do not get treatment for at least 1 year. Another thing which I want to bring up is, how long do you think it takes to detect cancer? Can I ask the audience? How much time do you think it takes to detect cancer? Anybody else? 1 month? So by the symptom, in how much time can you know a symptom of cancer like? Yeah, so average, I'm just taking the average, it's 2 years. Because sometimes it reaches a stage where you realize that I was not hungry, the person was losing weight, something was not going right, they did a lot of tests, and then suddenly they realized, oh, this is cancer that got detected. In depression, how much time do you think it takes to detect depression? 10 years. I'm cutting it very short right now, 10 years. So a person has lost his job, his family, his money, his self-esteem, but he did not know that he had depression. And as we are talking about, we can talk about AD, before COVID and after COVID. We can talk this way, okay? BC and AC. Things have changed drastically. And there's always, when we talk about mental health, we say that, oh my God, I don't want to know about it. But there is also good news that today I think people are openly coming out and talking about it. I did a little research in a school where I talked to students, college students and teachers. And there were questions on depression. Can you tell me which group knew the most about depression? Teachers hai, college students hai, or school children hai? Who do you think knew most about depression? There were questions asked on depression. And who knew the least? The most. School students knew most about depression, and teachers knew the least about depression. So this is our status. As we grew up in a society in joint families where we didn't talk openly about depression. We would say, mand buddhi ka hai ye person, doesn't talk too much, is not very friendly. So I think this is the first time we can say it has become an epidemic, and we are looking at it. We need to look at it that it has become an epidemic, because wo bolte na, it was unsaid, unseen. It is suddenly emerging as a field where even physical doctors acknowledge and say that yes, this could be because of mental health. 80% of our problems start with stress. 80% of the people in hospitals are because of stress. And where does stress get generated? Is it in the body? Is BP and sugar and cardiac in the body, or first does it come from the mind that the person is stressed? So in a way, yes, now we are recognizing it, and now it's become seamless. You talk about physical health or mental health, we are talking about the same thing.
Yeah, as you said, it's becoming a silent epidemic because many cases of mental health ailment are not reported, and India in particular, it's quite hidden. In this kind of a scenario, I would ask Dr. Mishra, is the government doing enough?
So very tricky question. When we ask government doing enough, why do we expect government to do everything?
Government certainly has a role.
No. So let me tell you.
Not everything, but it has a role.
So let me answer in this way. The problem with mental health is, first, we did not know that mental is a disease. In fact, WHO started this in somewhere in 70s. It came to our notice that in 90s mental health is and if you are mentally healthy, then you are healthy. This we started recognizing little late in comparison to other disease. That's first thing. As far as awareness is concerned, awareness about disease, Let me tell you very clearly that nowhere in the world all this thing is done by any government or organization. It is we who has to get aware. The biggest problem we have the education. Our thought. If I ask you that in this crowd, at per current state of the WHO, if we are 200, at least 4% will have some kind of psychological disorder, will have or currently having. How many of you are ready to come up and accept that I have some kind of psychological, maybe it is anxiety, maybe it is stress, maybe it is depression, it can be anything. How many are ready to have courage to say that I have this problem? Since there is a taboo behind it. Taboo is that कि लोग मतलब I have mental health, so people will say that I am mad. That taboo has been created. Mental health is not new. हमारे जितने भी शास्त्र हैं, जितने भी ग्रंथ हैं, सब में different kind of mental health mention है, उनके उपाय भी mention है. But problem is that कि in due course of the time, mental health first was not recognized, and when it was recognized in a wrong way. Everything was labeled as a mad, which was not correct, and that has created all the problem. So first thing, if we expect everything to government, like OTV is doing tomorrow, lot of organization will do. So जिसकी problem है, solution भी उसी को लाना होगा. We don't expect that government anything will do.
Government certainly has to build the infrastructure, because even among doctors, psychiatry is not a very preferred subject. There are not many psychiatrists all over the country, including in Odisha. So why is it that it is not a priority subject for doctors also? No,
it is a priority subject for doctors. Only thing is awareness. What government can do, recognizing the problem, they can create awareness. Like tell you an example, organ donation. There's a problem in India, maybe 10 years ago, when somebody comes to me, he's a brain dead, come to me and I start talking that look, if you can donate organ, you can save 10 more lives. It was not that effective. What today it is, when Modi ji has taken this initiative that organ donation should be a part of all counseling, and public started awareness, started happening, then thought change. So definitely government can help in recognizing that भाई आपको mental disorder है, you are not mad, you are part of the family, you are part of the society. Society should not, society reject कर देती है, family reject कर देती है. ये चीज़ नहीं होनी चाहिए. I will just come to very important thing. Look, all of us go to some kind of stress. The first thing, the first solution for this problem, which I really want to talk, is that recognizing the problem. ये problem है, आपका हार्ट टूटता है तो आप ऑर्थोपेडिक के पास जाते हो, हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम होती है. सेम में दिस इज आल्सो प्रॉब्लम, दिस इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम. इट लीड्स टू मच फाइनेंशियल लॉस, फैमिली लॉस, आपके वर्क लॉस. आप हट्टे कट्टे जवान होके महीनों तक चुपचाप वर्थलेस पड़े रहते हो. तो दिस यू हैव टू रिकॉग्नाइज अर्ली. Two of the biggest star, I want to example. They discussed, they came out. Deepika had a depression for so many years. She discussed, she came out. Namita Thapar, she was just discussing few days ago on TV. She's a MQR Pharma owner. She discussed what kind of mental trauma
the awareness level is increasing, and people are coming forward.
But Sushant Rajput could not do same thing, and he has to suicide. The extreme is that you can come out from the problem, and another extreme it can suicide. So one more thing which I want to tell everybody, and which is most important, we all have stress. We all have stress some kind. And हमारे शास्त्रार्थ आजकल जितने भी बाबा लोग हैं, सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ की बात होती है. And we all should do breath. We have forgotten to breathe. हमारा जो एवरेज ब्रेथ है 8 से 12, वो हमने बढ़ा के 14 से 20 कर दिया. The moment we start being mindful to ourselves in current situation and start breathing comfortably, lot of stress can be distressed, because the breath, getting good oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide is the best ever stress buster. So whenever you are stressed, just be mindful. Mindful means be with yourself, breathe properly, lot of things can be taken care of.
Yeah. Stress is certainly an area of concern, but mental health is not only limited to stress. So there's depression, there's anxiety, there's adjustment difficulties, there's addiction-related issues. So I would come to Dr. Das, because you've been in the medical profession for decades. You've been observing the trend. Do you think the policy makers have adequate knowledge of the subject? Do they focus as much as they should? And is the private sector also contributing enough?
Oh, a very tricky question. Dr. Mishra already told that should government do everything or should private not do something? As an individual have to contribute everything. But I will change your question. I will talk something different actually. The amount of, in my 42 years in medical science in ophthalmology, I have seen a huge change in the way you diagnose by imaging technology, technique, telemedicine, far away consultation, etc., etc. But everything has not defined mental health properly. So we think that mind, body and soul, if you think properly, we thought about only the body, not the mind and the soul. So I have got many patients, and they only want to hear one thing. If you become a patient anywhere, I am a patient somewhere also, will I become all right? When a patient asks the question, will I become all right? If you do not answer that question in a simple language, yes, I will take care of you. But start talking about medical jargon, statistics, etc., then that stress starts from there actually. So stress, medical doctors also create the stress. That portion most probably not being discussed properly. I am a retina doctor, so I treat a lot of infections in the eye. As somebody has referred a patient to me who is not doing well, I have to treat, do by my own medical standards. If I ask the same question, I want to certainly have to take a history, who treated you before? Now the way you can ask the question, किसने surgery किया है? You are finished. That means you already created stress. You are creating a seed of doubts that that doctor did not do well, but that doctor did what he could do. And whatever you do, you can't cure everybody. So supposing we have not apply the causality of everything and start talking about the life, then things will be all right. If you do not measure the disease just by those so-called quote-unquote normal parameters, hemoglobin, HbC, or fasting blood sugar, cholesterol, not talk about that alone, that only defines a disease from a so-called physically, bodily, healthy body. Doesn't talk about the life itself. If you have the life itself, then who will start it? Why should government start it? And of course, why should not government start it? It's all of us, the way you would talk. The stress is somewhere, not that nobody was the stress. Let's say we have this Foresight program, there's amount of stress. The person organized, person who's anchoring, person who Mrs. Panda came to do things, is a stress. But then how to mitigate it, find a solution, how to reduce the stress by enjoying something. One of my very famous teachers from Tamil Nadu, he had a famous sentence I always quote to myself that knowledge and intelligence are not enough in the world. It's the joy of doing something beautiful. Why a mother is not stressed by taking care of the child, but stressed by taking care of the mother-in-law? Excuse me if I use the word mother-in-law. My mother-in-law stayed with me until she died though. So that is the amount of how to reduce the stress. If you're doing something willingly, joyfully, then there is no stress at all. So it depends on how you take it. Now government is doing what government can do. Unfortunately, because it is a medical, hospitality has become an industry. I don't like that word myself though. So people are looking at how do we make it quick money, because while IT industry brought a lot of goodness to us, badness is that everybody thought that quick way you can earn money. To become a good doctor takes 12 years at least. To be a better doctor takes another 12 years most probably. So that's the amount of stress is going on and on and on. Now, without naming, the amount of stress we have to go to become a doctor. Luckily, I didn't have a NEET. I went through my +2 examination, these are the results, I become a doctor. But today, supposing my child goes to NEET, there is a stress. Then go to Kota, Akas, or something, Anchor, whatever it is, there is amount of stress. I was talking to IIT professor, principal actually in Madras. He told that, Dr. Garu, your Andhra guys are not good. I come from Andhra Pradesh. of undivided Andhra Pradesh once upon a time. I said, why they are all doing so well in IIT Madras? He said, no, they are all MCQ guys. They know how to answer those ABCD or none of the above. They can't solve a problem. Supposing think about solving a problem, then most probably stress will go away. He quote some examples of movie stars, but then movie stars, one, I'm happy that they confessed it. Stress was always there, will continue to there, and then problem, we should not ever try to avoid the problem. A problem comes, cross it. A bigger problem, cross it. That's what good friend, good president of India, Dr. Kalam always works on the problem. But government is doing what it can do. If there is a patient of 10 patients with a diarrheal disease, who I can treat with a patient with a bottle of saline, and there is somebody with a heart disease, public health point of view, I will treat these people, not this. This is important, but then I can treat well. So mental disease right now is not a priority for the government because there are a lot of other diseases you are not able to take care of it. One that is done only will do. If the society grows, it has come not automatically. The society has become better, GDP is improved, and we have got enough money to survive. I don't have to queue up to buy my 2 kilos of sugar once I do in a school child. Then only stress will go away. Stress will not go away. But good that, as Dr. Mishra, as Madam told that, talk about loudly. Don't hide it. Don't do anything else, and talk loudly so that you can...
To talk loudly also, the awareness level has to increase. And in recent decades, we see that these kind of mental health issues are actually growing, especially among adolescents and young adults. There is peer pressure, there is peer competition.
I think it was always there. Duryodhana also had a stress, and Krishna also had a stress, Alexander also had a stress, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi also had a stress, everybody had a stress. Yeah, but the way to how to communicate and talk to people, sort it out is better than hiding it. People, lucky that people know more hiding. Good that Deepika or somebody else has talked about it loudly so that people are aware that, okay, I can talk loud. Like a Me Too. Because always Me Too was there. It's only 3 years ago it came
The biggest problem is, एक ही ये देश की नहीं पूरे दुनिया की प्रॉब्लम है, लोग क्या कहेंगे. लोग आपका खाना नहीं चलाते, आपका घर नहीं चलाते, बट लोग क्या कहेंगे इसमें पूरी दुनिया बर्बाद है. प्रॉब्लम मेरी है, सोल्यूशन मुझे लाना है, मेरा डे ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, मेरा फाइनेंशियल लॉस हो रहा है, मेरी फैमिली लॉस हो रही है, सोल्यूशन मुझे लाना है. एंड इफ दैट हैज टू बी डन, लोग क्या कहेंगे इसको हटाना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू, आई मीन द फर्स्ट थिंग, अगर एक ही पब्लिक अवेयरनेस खाली हम कर सकें, एक मैसेज कि what people will say is none of my business, is none of your business. Who you are to judge what I am doing, who I am saying. Why I am a citizen of free country. Mental health is one of the most important priority for me.
That is easier said than done, because it's not any particular individual, but all of us are in a way responsible. So we just can't expect the individual to remain aloof and become asocial in the process. I would come to Dr. Singh, because as we see in the changing socio-economic scenario, a lot of our institutions like the joint family system in India, they are breaking down. Do you think it's contributing to a rise in mental health issues?
So certainly, I think the profile of mental health has changed. आपने देखा होगा, the research shows 40% increase in domestic violence, highest susceptibility to suicide in the youth between 15 to 29. We're reading it all the time in the papers. We can't be blind to those things. And senior citizens, these are the 3 groups which are the most vulnerable today. And we can understand, you see, if look at it, we are an agrarian society, 80% of people live in the village. एक बरसात fail होती है, एक rain fail होती है, everybody suffers, everything goes high. So can we say that we are still, depression has increased, anxiety has increased, body shaming, I have met a lot of students during the COVID time. They would not put on their video because वो लोग school students हैं, they had put on so much weight कि वो लोग video खोलने के लिए तैयार नहीं थे. कितने लोग counseling के लिए आ रहे थे because parents were saying, we don't know what to do with our kids. They have stopped socializing. So this COVID has brought another level, जिसके कारण अब ऐसा हो गया कि छुपा नहीं सकते. We cannot live in any denial anymore. The reality is that we are going through a lot of stress, a lot of emotional turbulence, and the type of people who are undergoing it is also changing. Therefore, I feel one thing, it's a Women's Day celebration. We all know how important women are. And the ratio of women being less than men in India itself speaks about what our status of women is. So if we really want to deal and tackle with mental health, I agree that the government alone cannot do. Do you know how many laws we have in the government? हमारा post law है, हमारा differently abled लोगों के लिए law है, mental health के लिए law है. Do you know there is suicide is decriminalized? You don't tell that a person died of, we don't say the person committed suicide but died of suicide. So there are lots of things that are happening from the law side, but as you say, what do people say? छुपा दो, किसी को बताना मत, किसी को पता तो नहीं चला इसको डिप्रेशन है. अब ये वर्ड डिप्रेशन यूज ही नहीं होता है कई बार. Okay, so the newer generation is recognizing it and they really want, they come out. मेरे clients कितने young clients आते हैं जो बोलते हैं मैं तो मम्मी को 4 साल से बोल रही हूँ, 2 साल से बोल रही हूँ, मुझे किसी से बात करनी है लेकिन मम्मी मुझे बात नहीं करने दे रही. So the truth of the matter is because we live in joint families और वहाँ पे हमारे चाचा मामा, मासी बुआ सब हमारा ध्यान रखते थे. Now even if we have to go to somebody's house, have you noticed you have to give a call? It has become so formal that we are meeting our own relatives. It's only in festivals that we meet people. So definitely we have to understand that now the state of denial is over. As mental health practitioners, we need to go back to our own selves. Our society has given us pranayam, meditation, dance, music, all belongs to us. All the Vedas talk about all this. All we need to do is just take a check in before we check out. And media does not let us do that very easily. That's the tragedy.
Just to take her word, whatever, I'm not saying, there is a pathological mental disease. But pathological mental disease are just 0.5%.
1% estimated. Yeah.
Only point. Rest of the things are easily breakable just by the routines which we do properly. Good sleep, mindfulness. I'm again using a word mindfulness. What is mindfulness? When Anu Malik was talking here with his song, what you all were doing? You were with you, most of, enjoying his song, clapping. Everybody agrees that? This is mindfulness. Most of the time we are not in mindfulness stage. We are not with ourselves. We do not recognize our own problem. We do not know. We are mentally somewhere else, just physically sitting here. Be with yourself most of the time. That will take care of most of your problem. Stress is and anxiety is the needus. It's the source of most of the problem which we go through. So stress busters, this stress is going to come. Without stress, you cannot do this kind of high priority work. But when you meet expected result, enjoy that moment. Always try to be mindful with your body. That will take care. So these are something. Just I said the simple thing. Mindfulness and breath. That's it.
You're talking of having a good lifestyle, but there are a lot of factors which influence a lifestyle, especially
Sir,
in recent years.
भगवान ने हम लोगों को जितनी essential चीजें हैं सब फ्री दी है. हवा, पानी, रहने के लिए जगह, सब कुछ. हमारी नीड और एक्सपेक्टेशन ने हमारे स्ट्रेस को बढ़ा दिया.
But human beings have become materialistic by nature, and we just can't expect everybody to suddenly get back to the roots and just stick to the basics, or to become very spiritually exalted. What is very practical and what is a reality today is we are seeing increased penetration of the internet, easy access to mobile phones, and obsession with the social media. This is where I would want to ask Dr. Das, don't you these factors are contributing to mental health disorders among young adolescents and young adults?
Very short, quick answer is absolutely yes. I don't have Facebook or Twitter handle. People sometimes, journalists particularly ask that, do you have a Twitter handle? I said I do not have it. Actually, I don't know how to handle it. But I have a WhatsApp that is more for I got 2 grandchildren, so for them to talk to me. I don't say anything, but I receive a lot of hot messages. I never reply. It's certainly giving a stress to all the social media. It's not incorrect to have it, but then I think we're mentally obsessed to use it more often. Everything is good to a limit. Once a limit crosses, even your dal roti chawal also can cause cancer also. So yes, I agree with you.
I would ask Dr. Singh just
Something to this. Stephen Covey has written that 7 habits of highly effective people. I love the 3 circles he's talking about, and I really follow that. First is the circle of control. What is in my control? My habits, my health, my routine, other things. The second circle is the circle of influence. What is influencing us? Or whom are we influenced by? It is the family, friends, school. And the third thing is the center of control. People who are controlling us are from outside. Who are those people? All this media and other things. This is not in our control. What we can influence is ourselves. What we can be influenced is by others. But unfortunately, have you noticed, जब हम लोग घर पे आते हैं, फैमिली मेंबर्स घर पे आते हैं, टीवी चालू हो जाएगी, सब लोग टीवी के आगे पीछे जो भी आप नेटफ्लिक्स देख रहे हो, जो भी देख रहे हो, we are connecting through the phones, through the mobiles, even have dinner, we are calling through that. That is a very sad state, because it's not, we are not running technology, now technology is running us. And we can make very simple amends. See, we cannot do without technology. Let's not fool ourselves. We need it all the time. But is there a boundary that we can create? Is there something like, when we are sitting on the dinner table, can all of us initiate this simple thing कि हम सब लोग अपने mobiles table पर नहीं लाएंगे, कितना भी important call हो, we will not take the call. Second is, sometimes you can have detoxify without technology. Go for a picnic, go for a drive, but there should be no technology. Is that possible? You know why I'm saying this? Lot of parents come to me, ma'am, इसकी आदत हो गई है, ये बहुत gaming करता है, ma'am, ये बहुत पूरा time mobile पे होता है, पढ़ाई नहीं करता है. And do you know what the children tell me ulta? Ma'am, ask my mother when is she not on the WhatsApp. Ask my father when is he not using his mobile. See, children learn only by imitation. There's no other way they learn. If you don't do it, your children will never want to do that. So that is something which we need to change about ourselves.
Digital detox is the new word, new buzz.
Yeah.
And it's going to be new challenge for us. And it's going to be new way of detoxing, but it is must. But again, I'm saying, I'm not asking anybody to go to previous room. I'm just trying to tell everybody something which is doable. Something, there is no rocket science in 1 minute, breathing slowly, just 8 to 10, no rocket science. Just do right now, take 5 breaths right now, and difference what you feel. That's what I'm just telling you. Just deep breathing, no rocket science. Same way, I said that if you are happy for something, because you have to bring your mind. What happened? We are lost so much that we even forget about ourselves. At least 24 घंटे में 2 मिनट अपने बारे में सोचिए. Bring yourself कि आज आपने क्या किया. आप माइंड और बॉडी को एक जगह करिए. ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट कि ऐसी कौन सी नेग्लिजिबल प्रॉब्लम है जिसके पीछे आप भागे जा रहे हैं. वो प्रॉब्लम की कोई वैल्यू नहीं होगी, उस चीज़ की वैल्यू नहीं है, आप उसके पीछे पूरा दिन खत्म. तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हेन यू ब्रिंग माइंड और बॉडी टुगेदर, देन यू कैन फाइंड इट आउट. सो यू हैव टू रिकॉग्नाइज योर प्रॉब्लम. You have to, nobody is going to find solution for you. Nobody. Neither your husband, nor your wife, nor your children. If you have problem, mental health is everybody's problem. Nidus comes from the stress or anxiety, whatever target we have. Most of the time, we waste our time in non-productive, non-fruitful thing, and we just are not connected with few basic things, which is taught since millions of years. Few breathing exercise and few bringing your mind and soul together. There is a simple thing you have to do. No rocket science needed for this.
Hopefully people here will take your advice and start some breathing exercises. It's a vast topic and there's so many questions that we would like our distinguished panelists to answer, but we are running short of time. Now we will open the floor to questions. We can take a few questions from the audience before we wrap up the session.
Hello.
Just introduce yourself before you put forth your question.
Yeah, I am Shubhrakant Shadangi, Chairman and CEO of iBooks. My one question which I've been trying to ponder also think that aren't the millennials overhyping the term depression or mental health, where I find that at times their mental resilience has it reduced over time, just because we are recognizing this particular fact that they need to address as compared to what we have experienced or what we have seen during our lifetime.
Maybe Dr. Singh can answer.
So I'm going to continue that study which I talked about now. Students know the maximum about health, mental health, because they are Googling, they are getting all wrong information from there, many times even hiding behind the name of mental depression. See, depression, how many of you know what is depression? I'm not sure if many people in the audience know it. We use the word very loosely. You know, I'm depressed. You cannot be depressed in a moment. You need at least 2 weeks of that behavior to show. For 2 weeks, you have to feel low. Your energy should be low. You may not feel hungry. You don't sleep well. There are many parameters of which, you know, we talk about depression. But answering your question, I would agree that the resilience of children, their tolerance has become like a 2-minute Maggie. You understand? That's the culture. Bhook lagi hai. See that ad, what does it tell you? Our mothers could never cook in 2 minutes and feed us, but today in 2 minutes a Swiggy comes, it's on the way and it will deliver food to you. So there is no question of tolerance, there's no question of not having a choice. That is the danger. I think we are creating, from children we are creating them into very, you know, people who have intolerance, and they run the house. What is to be cooked or what has to be bought in the house is run by children. And I think this is something we as adults need to take a reality check. Just yesterday, one of my clients was telling me about her daughter who's only in 3rd standard. One boy shames her, तेरी गाड़ी छोटी है, तू छोटी गाड़ी में आती है और तेरे पास iPhone नहीं है. This is only in grade 3. And this woman came with a panic attack to me, how do I handle this? Why do you think she got panicked? Because we have not handled these questions ourselves. We are flowing without looking at, you know, what materialism is doing to us. We are becoming consumers ourselves. So the moment you can stop yourself and say, I don't have to buy a big car, or I don't need an iPhone if I don't need one, we'll be able to help our children better.
So in fact, just to further your question, in fact, particularly in India, we are recognizing really very less problem. We are just seeing tip of the iceberg. In fact, there are a lot of undercurrent going, but as I said, that it's not something which is non-curable. It's preventable. We need to recognize the problem, address it in time, and to prevent it to become really a life-threatening problem, suicidal problem. And definitely in children, bullying is one thing which causes a lot of psychological disturbance in children. So it is a responsibility of all parents, to not encourage your children to bully somebody. So there is something, this comes your proper behavior. Nobody can teach you. If you are behaving good, your children will behave good at social level. If you are a bad parent, your children will be bad at social level.
Yeah, maybe we can take the next question.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. So I'm a consultant working in TCS. So like sir said, millennials are trying to misutilize this word of depression or something related to mental illness. So I see many a times, well, I'm nobody to judge, but then I see many a times my juniors or my colleagues, I feel they are trying to sympathize with the word that I'm not feeling well mentally or I'm feeling depressed. I need some time and all. So at that point of time, how do we analyze whether that person is actually suffering or trying to sympathize with the word, because now, instead of being a taboo... You mean to say they're
using mental illness as an alibi?
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe Dr. Das can throw some light on
I
this.
am eligible for that to answer TCS question. Your question is that one thing, I'm sorry that I don't call junior senior, I call colleagues only. It doesn't matter who is junior, who is senior.
Yeah.
We are all colleagues. Your college has not doing well, and your question is, how do you judge it is real or?
She's saying if somebody is faking it, how do we know?
Real or faking. So
Yeah.
you have to, as Dr. Singh told, that depression doesn't happen by moments.
Right.
Swiggy ka khana aane ka आधा घंटा हो गया आया नहीं. That is not depression. It has to go by weeks actually, and then look at the president, her family history, her personal history, and what is happening there, and find out if it's a female colleague. I will say is somebody bullying her at all, or she is, or body shame as the word being currently used. So those are the way to find out if you want to help somebody. And when we help somebody, let us do empathy and not sympathy and no mercy. And empathy, is that way we can elevate a person. Otherwise, you only doing merciful to a person is no good at all. I don't know how to identify. In our own surrounding, particularly with the nurses and the technicians and optometrists who are hard worked, they get stressed because of longer hours of work,
Right.
not because of lack of work. That's what we do is, I share their work. Instead of doing all, giving them, I'll do a task sharing, so, and then sit down. Usually I take them out for a dinner or lunch or something as possible. We have a 2.5 years of fellowship program. I have a lot of international fellows. Usually after a year and a half, they all break down. Particularly girls from China or Africa, Malaysia. So I just talk to them and take them out for a dinner and talk over and over for a few days, and then things become all right. So I think there's no one way of doing it, but there are many ways. It could be your way, it could be different than my way.
And honestly, do not take it lightly. Mental health is not to be taken lightly. I've seen people die of suicide because they were not listened to. Ek raat pehle, the daughter is saying that I am not feeling good. And the mother held on to her and slept. The mother left the room, this girl hung herself, and nothing happens overnight. She may have tried doing this many times. And depression ke baad, many times it ends like this. So don't take them lightly. I love what Sir said, compassion. Do not let them go scot-free, but don't judge them. That's the least we can do as human beings, not judge others.
You know, you are lucky if your colleagues say that I'm not feeling good. Try to find out why they are not feeling good. In fact, as I said, it's a taboo, a stigma. Nobody will come out and say that I have this problem. If somebody is saying, it means he is bold enough and courageous enough to tell you or your boss that I have this problem. Maybe even he is feigning. He is trying to just dose you. That is not to work. That's a different issue. That is not very important. But maybe if you miss that, you may miss some of the important life. One thing. Second thing, nowadays work-life balance is a different subject, but since it's related with that, so work-life balance has become a very important subject for all the corporate. And for work-life balance, I say one word, that you are not in right kind of job if you are not liking your job. So if you are doing something just for survival, you will do just for survival, okay, मेरा घर चल रहा है और मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. Those kind of people, there's another reason of having lot of psychological stress, lot of mental stress, lot of financial stress. Do those kind of job. Try, although it's not everybody is lucky to do that, but still one has to try to find his passion, his target, his goal. So try to do that kind of job which makes you happy, because happiness you cannot buy at any cost. No amount of money can give you. You might be earning millions and billions, but still if you are not happy with the job, that you are not at right place. So there are two aspects. First thing, don't ignore a complaint, but simultaneously nowadays all corporates are coming with a work-life balance program, addressing these issues, trying to find out how they can reduce the stresses. So that's a different subject. So there are two aspects to your question.
I would thank Dr. Rajesh Mishra, Dr. Nimrat Singh, and Dr. Thara Prasad Das for throwing light on this very important subject, mental health issues. As you know, it encompasses a broad range of issues, and the discussion can go on, but we are running short of time. And as Dr. Das said, empathy, Dr. Singh said compassion, and as Dr. Mishra said, it's about work-life balance, and maybe breathing is easy, and maybe doing some breathing exercises which can help us, but it's easier said than done. This is a very important and grave area where it's not any particular individual, but all of us are responsible for it, and all of us need to address this, to identify this, and in a first-paced society, in the changing world today, where we have to cope with technology, we have to cope with material advancement, where we are all consumerists in this kind of a situation. Maybe, as someone said, life is not just about increasing its speed. So maybe if we all can slow down a bit, and maybe if we can look at what we enjoy and what we are passionate about, and if we can take life a little bit easily, then maybe that can help us overcome certain issues, because tension, depression, anxiety, stress, these have become words which we frequently use. All of us use it frequently, and maybe we would all hope that we can think about it in our own daily lives and we can overcome these challenges. Thank you all for giving us a patient hearing, and I would again thank our panelists for sharing their knowledge, their erudition, and their thoughts in this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Can we please have one more round of applause for all the panelists who spoke so well about